I'm gonna do that thing where they put it on their medal like that. Yeah. Okay. Hi there. We're overdue a catch-up, I think. If you have been here before, then welcome back. If you're new here, then hello, my name is Kelly. I'm an age group triathlete, just trying to get better, and I think I have. I'm gonna once again start off this video by apologizing. I know it's been a minute, but I have good reasons as to why it took me so long to get this video out. Number one, I was on holiday. I think that's a pretty good reason, to be honest. I did sort of want to spend the drive back to Orlando from Panama City Beach editing and, making use of all those hours, but I get car sick, and then we got to Orlando and we were having a holiday. So I put my laptop away and I was like, you know what? YouTube can wait. It's fine. Number two, I got sick. I got a horrible American virus. Don't know how. It hit me in the last couple of days of the holiday, which I suppose is a good thing that it wasn't at the start of the holiday. Should I put this on? Yeah, okay, that's better. So when I got home, I was just fighting for my life, and the flight back was the worst thing in the world. Fighting for my life the entire time on that plane. And then I got home and it took me about 3 days to recover from it. And then because I spent my first 3 days just sleeping, my jet lag was still out of whack. And then something happened. I'll touch on that later, because within this video, there's also a pretty big announcement. If you already follow me on Instagram, then you know all of this. You know this, and you know what the announcement is. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, why the hell not? You're gonna have to just wait until the end of this video to see what it is. So this is going to be my race day recap video. I want to talk through the entire day from start to finish. I'm going to use the clips that Mike got as my visual aids. I will say that we did have some issues with the videography side of things, but I'll talk about that later on. And yeah, just give you a bit of an insight into how my first American and flat full Ironman went. Very well, if you can't already tell. You obviously saw the vlog in the lead up to the event, so I don't really need to talk about all the days before. I can just pretty much jump straight into the morning of. Got to transition sort of normal time, did all my setup, everything was looking fine. Got down to the beach really early, which is unlike me. Normally I'm one of the last ones down there. We could go in the sea to kind of warm up, climatize. The sea was really warm though, so there wasn't much need for it, but it was just really nice. It was really dark when we first got down there, and the sunrise in Panama City Beach was fantastic, and it was a really fantastic feeling swimming and watching that sunrise happen in the distance. It was gorgeous. I don't have any clips of that, but I'll pop a photo. Bam, right here. Looks like something straight out of GTA. It was amazing. And then I put myself in the 110 area. Obviously, you can't really be exactly accurate with who you're going to be standing around, but I put myself in 110. And the first part of the swim, it was great. Getting into the water was a bit, I look like Captain Jack Sparrow. The sea kind of dips and then it raises again. Like the surface, I mean, the sea floor. It dips and then it raises and then it dips again. And I realised that the day before when I did a swim recce. So I didn't want to go in all guns blazing in case I tripped over and hurt myself. So I did take the entry to the sea pretty cautiously. But then, yeah, the first lap was absolutely fantastic. They are not lying when they say that you can see everything below you. Up to a certain point, I'd say once you get past the pier, then you're yeah, can't see anything, which is scarier to be honest, because the stuff that you can see, there were jellyfish, there were lots of fish. I'm so fairly certain that I saw a couple of sharks, only the small kind, but I'm certain that I saw some sharks. But I was it's fine. They were all really low down, so it was okay. Coming back in to the shore, so the course was straight out and then you turn right and then you swim for a little bit and then you come straight back, so it was a bum bum bum. Coming back, that's when the sun was really in the sky and I was just absolutely blinded. Something that I've learned about myself from this race and that I'm gonna think about more for other races is that I don't really tend to look at the swim course as much as I do the bike and the run. In that I know the general direction that I'd be swimming in, but I do find myself when I'm swimming at these events keeping an eye out for what buoy I'm approaching. So I'll be like, right, is that yellow or is that orange? And I'll keep looking at it and be like, okay, yeah, that's yellow. And then I'll be trying to like look ahead to see like, right, how many yellow ones do I have left before the turn? Which I know is stupid. I know I should just swim. But it's like when you run into an out and back, you're constantly looking for where that turning point is. And I do the same thing in the swim, and I think that slows me down quite a lot. So a key takeaway from the swim of this race is that I need to study the swim course a little bit more and know, right, I've got 5 yellow buoys and then it's an orange, and then I can just keep count as I'm going past them. Anyway, sighting I was pretty happy with, otherwise, apart from coming back where you couldn't see anything, but it was fine. When I hit the shore, when I got to the point where I was stood up, I looked at my watch and I was on 35 minutes, and I was so happy. Just because I was like, bam, I've done it. I that's the time that I wanted to swim in. If I can just do that again, I'll get my 110 that I wanted. And then I was like, wait, I've got an Aussie exit. That's going to take up at least a minute, if not more. Oh my, that was the longest thing in the world. Not in the world, that's extreme. Definitely longer than Wales though. And I was like tanning it. And then you can see on the video towards the end of it, as I'm approaching the sea, I'm like, oh my God, because my heart rate just spiked. But yeah, because I came out of the ocean in 35 minutes, I was like, okay, I have to run this Aussie exit as fast as I can so that I'm not losing too much time. And then, yeah, I was pretty cooked going back into the water, and I did have to take my time with that again just to bring my heart rate back down before I started swimming. And then the second lap. It's well known that Ironman is kind of open to a range of abilities, and in every race you'll have the kind of back of the pack slower swimmers that are breaststroking and really taking their time with it because they're not in a rush, they're not racing it, they're doing it to complete it. And that was so apparent in this race. And I think that type of athlete is definitely, there are more of them in America, I believe. So the second lap was unlike any other second lap I've ever done on an Ironman course. The amount of breaststrokers, good amount of backstrokers, people swimming in all sorts of directions. It was wild. And I got stressed, and I'm not the kind of person that can just swim through people and fight my way through it. I prefer to have my own path and not get in people's way, and you know, if they're swimming diagonally across me, I just stop. I'm like, you don't know where you're going, but you go, that's fine. So I did get really slowed down on that second lap. So my second key takeaway from this race is, for my next one, my fast attempt next one, I want a 1 lap course, please, because I'm tired of doing 2 loops. I was shocked when I came out of the Aussie exit as well, people were still going in. Every other race I've done where it's been 2 loops, they've already got all the athletes in the water. So I don't know why they weren't all in yet. Maybe I'm just fast. So yeah, I ended up finishing the swim with that in mind, with the Aussie exit and the slower second lap in mind. I ended up finishing the swim in 1:16. I think I hit the shore in more like 1:15. Obviously depends where the timing gate is. So you know what, I'll take it. It's a sub 2 minute pace. And that for me, although the lead swim was quicker, even though I believe it wasn't because I think the course was short, that to me, that swim is progress. I still have a really, really long way to go, but it was progress. My sleeve, again, same thing that happened in Wales, my wetsuit sleeve. You could see on the Aussie exit, I was like trying to drain it. Same thing happened, it just filled up. So that is something that I'm going to have to address when I start open water swimming again next year. Transition was fairly long. Not as long as Wales, but it was still running on concrete and bare feet for a long time. I remember getting to transition and being like, owie, dead hurts. The Ironman America transitions are slightly different in that your bags aren't on hooks and in one place. They're on the floor in the number order in 2 different locations. And then the transition tent, you've got 2 separate tents, one for the men, one for the women. I'm assuming to account for the fact that the American races are a little bit more beginner friendly, and you're going to have more people that are going to want to get fully changed rather than stay in tri-suits. So yeah, the volunteers, I will say, at this race were all absolutely fantastic. Apart from the ones that were meant to find the bags. I found my bags both times, and you're supposed to like call out your number and they're supposed to help you find them, but I was like 1117 and they just so I ended up finding my own bag, which is fine. That's what you have to do normally. Ran into transition 10, and it was a very surreal feeling being in there with only women and only a couple of women as well. Normally when I get to transition tents, it's like Ramo, but I was in there with maybe 5 other women, and they had volunteers in there, and they had a whole station where you could like drink some water, electrolytes, grab a banana. They had like sunscreen, and these volunteers, as soon as I got in the tent, they like took my bag from me and they took my wetsuit, and they were like, and they were all passing me stuff, and I had 2 of them, and I was like, what's going on? Why are you helping me? It was really nice. So yeah, after that, I got onto the bike and started the bike, which I had studied that course very, very intricately. I'd spent a lot of time leading up to this race in the aero position, so I was ready to just kind of like tuck in and go as fast as I could. I had planned out my power numbers and my heart rate with my coach as like a range, because I know what I'm capable of based off what I did in Wales and Leeds and my training this year. And then my power pedals stopped working. Well, they didn't even start working in the first place. And that is slightly on me because I forgot to calibrate them. They are like self-calibrating, but I know you should before every race just in case. So I didn't. And I was like, no, I haven't calibrated. I'm not going to get a proper reading. And I wasn't even getting any readings. It was just 0. And I was like, oh, sugar, it's not working. Now I know, having gotten home and tried to calibrate them, they've actually just stopped working at all. So little side note, if anyone has experience with the Wahoo Power Link 0 just giving up, let me know. When I try and calibrate it in the app, it just comes up with an error message saying it says I have torque on it, which I don't. And I've emailed Wahoo and they've not got back to me, so help. Anyway, it's fine. It's not the end of the world to not have your power. I still had my heart rate and I still had my target speed that I wanted. And I've raced on feel the majority of my time. Like, it was only this year that I've had a power meter and a heart rate monitor in races. Bolton and Wales last year, I did off feel completely. So I'm not a stranger to racing and training off of feel rather than data. So it was fine. It's a bit annoying to not have that data, because I would be very intrigued to see what power I held for that. Whatever. The bike was going really, really well. The course itself is really, really smooth. Like, those roads are just to die for. I'd studied the bike course a lot. I'd studied the wind maps a lot, so I knew that the first chunk of the bike was straight into a headwind, which is weird because the wind forecast wasn't like that high, but there just still was a headwind. And I was kind of gritting my teeth and knowing that I was going to have to be patient and not panic about the speed too much, because I knew I was going to get it back. But yeah, it was a bit. And I also knew that the first stretch wasn't a hill, but the entire way it was hovering between like 1% and 2%. So it was that like ever so slight false flat. But yeah, I stayed patient. I stuck to my plan for speed and heart rate, stuck to my nutrition plan, and then things started to go a little bit more wrong. I lost 200 grams worth of carbs in my aero bottle, which is so frustrating, and I could have gone back and gotten it, but it was on a descent, and I was flying, and I just thought, no, not doing it, because I'd already lost a bottle immediately on the bike course when I went over a speed bump, and I did go back for that one, but then I lost this, and I was like, sayonara, see you later. I'll do without. But it was what I had my flow gel in, the Precision Hydration flow gel. And I think I drank about a third of it. So yeah, that was about 200 grams down the kicker. And I was like doing the maths, trying to figure out what I would do to replenish that. And I didn't really do anything. Dumb. Anyway, and then in like the last third of the bike, my heart rate also said, sayonara, see you later, I'm done. I don't know what's wrong with that armband. Maybe it just doesn't work in water. I'm not sure. It seems to work okay now, but yeah, it just gave up. It just, if you look at my graph, I just flatline on the heart rate. It just stayed at 146. So that was really, really annoying. Also, bike course for America, no one wears their bibs. Maybe I should have read the instructions, the brief, more clearly. But yeah, no one was wearing their bibs. And I was like, because obviously when you get on the bike, you start looking and you start going, right, my age group, yes, overtaken her. And I overtook a woman straight away, and I tried to look and I was like, she's not wearing hers. And I almost said something to her. I was like, oh, where's your bib? But then I saw other people not wearing them and I was like, damn. That's me with that extra wind resistance for no reason. I don't know if it makes a difference. I'm not sure. So yeah, that was a weird one. But I overtook a lot of people. And I got overtook by a lot of people. But I didn't get overtaken by any women. Finished the bike course in 5 hours and 15 minutes. Who am I? That's insane. I kind of thought, I was like, I want sub 5:30. And it would be amazing if I could get about 5 to 5:10, and then I got 5:15. So I'm just so over the moon with it. And now I know what I can do. Now I know what I'm capable of. And I think actually on a true flat course, because it wasn't flat, obviously it was flat compared to like everything else I've done, but on a true flat course with no wind, it also had a weird bit at the end. So the bike course itself was like fantastic. Only a couple of out and backs. Other than that, it was one loop, so you weren't held up by traffic either at any point. And then right towards the end, you do this little like loop-de-loop around this like kind of park area. And that was sketchy AF. They like lay carpet down. It's a very, very technical section, especially on TT bikes. So that definitely slowed me down. It didn't last long, but still. I think we could go 5 hours next year. I'm putting that out to the universe. T2, as you can see. Oh, okay, no, I forgot to say, the reason that the camera quality, the picture quality gets so bad is because I remember that wave that hit me as I was going in to the second loop of the swim after the Aussie exit. That also hit Mike and it also hit our camera. So the camera stopped working after the swim, which is kind of frustrating, but you live and you learn, don't you? Mike's not a videographer. He wasn't to know. And it's something that we're going to learn from for sure. It was annoying because the footage was looking so good. And then the rest of it was done on his phone. Also, maybe have a spare camera. As you can see, I was really, really happy getting off the bike and running into T2. And then T2 was better than T1. I was the only woman in the tent. And that, it was just a feeling that is very surreal. Because that generally means that you're quite fast. And that was really, really cool for me. And I had 3 women helping me this time. They helped me with my nutrition, like getting it into my pockets. They put my stuff away. They got all my stuff out. They did argue with me a little bit. There was a woman, I had paracetamol in there because of my foot injury leading up to the race. So I'd planned to take some paracetamol. And I got them out and she was like, how many do you want? And then this other one was like, you shouldn't be taking those. And I was like, give me the paracetamol, I always do. So I definitely lost about a minute just trying to convince this woman to let me take. I was like, is it in the rule book? Okay, so no, I want the paracetamol, please. I did have an extra, I think, couple of chews in my T2 bag, so I did obviously take those as well. I ate one in transition and then I took one out on the run with me, just to try and compensate for the carbs. Obviously it wasn't going to be enough, but that's fine. And then the run, yeah, when I got out of the transition tent, Mike communicated with me that I was in 3rd in my age group, which was really, really cool. And he said, comfortably. And I said, how comfortably? He was like, you're about 15 minutes ahead of 4th. And I was like, okay, that's comfortable. But if she can run a 3:30 marathon and I can't, then it's not comfortable. And I, like, at this point, had no idea of the standard of the pool that I was racing against. So I got onto the run, and the atmosphere in Panama City Beach was fantastic. The run is just one big out and back, basically, and you do it twice. It did get really, really lonely in the further out you went. And as I was running out, I was like, okay, cool. Then I get to see how many other women are ahead of me, because I'll see them coming back and I'll know in that first lap like where I am overall as well. And I got right towards the end of that out and back and I hadn't seen any women yet, and I was like, did Mike mean third overall? But I was like, no, because then a bike would be following me. Surely that's not. And then, lo and behold, they all started appearing. The woman in first was an absolute machine. So she was way ahead of everyone else. And then the rest of them were all sort of clumped quite closely together. And I counted and I was like, okay, wow, I'm in eighth. I think it was eighth, something like that. It was seventh, eighth or ninth. Don't know. Yeah, that was also a very surreal feeling. I was like, wow, I'm sort of top 10 overall. That's really cool. But then as I turned, I could also see the women that were behind me, and I didn't know who was who, what age group, etc. I saw a woman, I was like, oh, run away. Because I think I went into this race thinking, you know, a chance of a Kona slot is very much off the table now. Podium might be there, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get the time that I want and to see what I can do on a flat course. But then when I came off the bike and Mike told me that I was on the podium, that sort of put fire in me, and I was like, okay, no, I want it. I want to get my first podium for sure. Yeah, I kept to my paces. I walked through the aid stations. The aid stations, the volunteers were absolutely fantastic, as they normally are. That standard didn't dip at this race at all. They were so encouraging, so helpful. They had ice as well, so it wasn't like really hot. I'd say it was about 20 degrees, but for me that is hot. So most aid stations I did also grab ice, and I either put it down my front or down my back or in my hat just to keep that little extra bit cool. I stuck to the nutrition plan, but obviously had those extra chews. And I really did start to feel that on the second loop. I was like, whoa, I'm flagging a little bit, and my pace did drop a little bit from like 30 to 38 kilometers. I had a bit of a lag. I knew that I was in the clear for sub 4 hours, and then I thought, in the first half, I thought, right, I can do a 3:45 here, and then it dipped, and I was like, okay, no, that's not going to happen. I started looking at my overall time instead, and went, okay, a sub 10:30 is possible if I stick to it and pick up the pace a tiny little bit. So that's what I did. By the time you get onto the second lap, obviously there's loads more people, so I couldn't tell which women were ones that were in front of me, which were ones that were on their first lap, but I did overtake quite a few women. And when I saw Mike on the first lap, like when I came back, he said, what did he say? I think he told me that I was still third, and said fourth was, I said, how far is fourth behind me still? And he said, now they're 52 minutes. And I was like, do you mean 52 minutes from me or 52 minutes from first? And he was like, oh, it's 52 minutes from first. I need to teach him how to use the tracker, basically. And I said, okay, how far am I behind first? And he said I was like 36 minutes. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine then. I've definitely got third. And then when I crossed over the finish line, I'm like crying thinking about it. Obviously, I was over the moon to be on the podium, but to be getting that sub 10:30, that's the time that I'd texted my coach a couple months back, and I'd said, I want 10:30 in Florida, and I put haha at the end of it, because I knew that it would be I thought it would be a stretch. I thought, like, that's if everything goes perfectly, which it rarely ever does in Ironman, and it didn't in this one, but I still got it. So I'm like, oh, if everything had gone perfectly, what could I have done? Could it have been 10:20? Could I have saved 10 minutes there if I had a better swim and didn't lose my carbs and had my heart rate? But it's all what ifs, isn't it? And I'm still so happy with 10:29:44. And then I crossed over and Mike told me that I was second in my age group. So that's what I've got right here. I've got second place in female 30 to 34. It's been such a long couple of years since my first one, and have really seen the ups and downs of training, and wanted to give up so many times. but kind of persisted, mostly because I love it. I love this game. After we were sat there for a little bit, because Mike, when I finished, he said I was second and I was 5th overall. And then we were there for a little bit, sat on these chairs, and we checked the tracker again and I was 4th overall. So yeah, I got 2nd place in my age group and 4th overall at IRONMAN Florida, Panama City Beach. Now I know that I was supposed to do Arizona, and when we look at the times from Arizona, I wouldn't have come close to being in any kind of top podium or 5 or maybe even 10 overall. And I know that when you compare these times to like some of the European races, I still wouldn't be in any contention for a podium. For me, the main thing that I'm happy about in this race is my time and my performance, and the fact that I've proved myself a little bit. Because I'm not someone who's come from a sport background. I've really come from nothing. I started running in 2021 in the February. Before that, I did nothing, and I was very overweight and I was very unhealthy. I had no endurance, I had no muscle, basically. So yeah, I think to go from that to where I am now in that time, I think is something to be proud of, and I am really proud of it. And I'm really, really happy with the time. The getting the podium is like the cherry on the cake. But if I'd have done Ironman Arizona and finished in the same time, I wouldn't be sat here more disappointed that I didn't get a podium. I would just be absolutely elated that I got sub 10:30. So yeah, just want to clear that one up. In general, the event was absolutely fantastic. The event location was great. It was a bit dead in Panama City Beach in the lead up to it. It's not necessarily somewhere I would visit again, but the sea was absolutely gorgeous. We did get very lucky in the sea on the day. It was a little bit swelly, and other days it was absolutely hectic. So that is something to consider if you're looking at this race for next year or for future years. If you get unlucky with the sea, it can be really, really bad, or it can be absolutely gorgeous and pan flat. So there's really no telling. Bike course was fantastic. It was very, very lonely, but if you just want to get your head down and get a quick time, can't recommend it more. Run course, very similar. Quite lonely, but it's just you, yourself, and you just gotta get your head down and stick to it. On the Kona topic. So if you are a fan of the sport, then you'll know what's been going on with the Kona qualifications so far this year. If you're not, then I'll just give you a quick summary in that Ironman changed the championship race so that it's men and women back together, which means great, it's one day, it's one race, but there are less spots for both genders. At the moment, female participation is still quite low in the sport. Come on, ladies, sort it out. So Ironman figured out a participation-based model where they would take times and multiply them by a number that's based off previous Kona times, and then you get re-ranked with the men and you get handed out Kona slots that way. It hasn't been working out for the women, or it wasn't working out for the women. At every race, the only women that were getting their slots were the first places, unless it rolled down to 2nd or 3rd. But then from the what they call performance pool, it was little to none at every single race, including this one. The only women to get the spots for Kona were the first places. 9 out of 10 of them took it. And then the remaining 36 slots, I think, something like that, went to the men. I knew this would happen going into the race, so I'd already accepted that I wasn't going to get Kona. And that was fine. I did obviously go to the award ceremony to get... I'm just going to show you again my award. And I did stay for the slot allocation just to see how it would play out and see if any women got it. And yeah, it was really disappointing. But I was happy. As I said, I came and did what I set out to do, and I was just absolutely over the moon with it. So we had a great holiday after. Like a really great holiday. We went to Disney, and we went to Universal, and we were just big kids for a long time. And I was all right, actually, physically, apart from having to stand in a load of lines. Like, my legs and my feet were giving out a lot quicker than they normally would in those scenarios. Yeah, we had a really, really great holiday. And then, when I got back, as I said, I was a little bit sick. not much going on, didn't want to edit and film this section of the video while I was all bunged up. And then literally this day last week, I got a message from someone to say, you're going to get a Kona slot. And I was like, what? And I said, I don't want a handout. I don't want to just get it because of the following that I have and as a nod. I was like, I don't want that. I'd rather plan and go in 2027. And I don't want to go under this scenario and this situation with the qualification, the way it's working out. And they said, no, I'm about to announce it like 3 o'clock today. They're going to say that they've changed the qualification model. They've recognised that women and younger men are not benefiting from it at all. And they want more women to be at the World Championships. And they're going to accommodate for that. And they are going to give out some retroactive slots to women that would have qualified under that scenario. And I was one of them. So we're going to Kona. Sorry. I'm due on soon, by the way. That's why I'm emotional. It took them a while for them to send the email. But yesterday at 5 o'clock, 5:15, I got an email that started yesterday? No, Thursday. I got an email that started, "Aloha, Kelly." And I got offered a Kona slot. Oh, God, stop it. We're going to have to do a new series, I think. A Road to Kona series. Because I've paid my entry. My employer and my kit sponsor, TriFit, has kindly offered to sponsor me some of that entry, which is really, really generous, and I'm really excited to go. If you don't know, then this kind of whole thing started with a Kona qualification. The reason that I've come back and gotten faster, because when I did my first one in Bolton, I did actually get a qualification there, even though I did it in 14 and a half hours. And now I know it's because they had a bunch of women for tri slots, that they were just trying to increase female participation. So that one was sort of a handout. I didn't know that at the time. I was just like, wow, I'm good. I'm good enough to go. I couldn't take it. So I kind of made it my mission to get it again. And I tried again and again. And I think I did get a roll down in Leeds, but by that point, I decided that I wanted to wait until 2026. And then, yeah, they changed the model, and I was like, wow, it's never going to happen unless I come first. But it didn't put me off. I just went, okay, well, I'm going to train and just come first one day. But it doesn't matter because now we're going. And Mike's going to tell you how excited he is to go to Kona. Mike, how excited are you to go to Kona?
Yeah. I'm excited.
Mike's excited.
To play on the beach.
With the dolphins. He wasn't excited at first. I have to bring him around to the idea by cooking him a lot of really nice food and showing him a lot of really cool videos from all the content from this year. And now I think he's okay with it. I did also did a really unhinged in that I booked accommodation before I got the email. I was just looking and I saw a really, really good deal and I was like, I'm just going to book it. I'm just going to manifest it. It was refundable, so it wasn't that unhinged. But yeah, there's the big announcement. We're building wardrobes, so I'm going to have to probably go and help at this point, I think, because Mike's done with his wood handling. Thanks, wood play. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. That's my review on IRONMAN Florida, Panama City Beach. Fantastic race. Highly recommend. I also really recommend doing it in America. Doing an Ironman in America. It was just so much friendlier. Obviously less support, but no drafting on the bike. Little to no drafting. It was very rare that I saw or experienced any drafting myself. So if you're someone who wants a flat race but doesn't want to go and sit in a draft pack, go to America, because it was quiet. If you don't already subscribe, then you're going to miss out on the Road to Kona series. So sort it out. I'll see you in the next one.
You did so good, babe. You know where you are.
Where am I? My second.
Overall female.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
He'll take your chip off down here. Don't worry about bending over. He'll do the.
That was so hard.
Great.
No, is she bleeding? Oh no.
A little bit, not bad.
I just want to sit. I'm second. Is my mum awake? I'm so salty. My lips stink so bad. I want to take them off. Oh, I'm so gonna shit myself.